2,000 health now on the Baron, stolen by Crash HKA. Can they win the team fight afterwards?
我想跟粉丝说的是，就我们今天状态有点差，所以之后我们会调整好状态，然后让我们的比赛表现更好。
因为我们 HKA 会一直保持进步，希望粉丝继续支持我们。
Artifact though, once again stepping in, no ultimate this time for Mission. He's on the hunt, flash forward, try it again, because 3Z is getting absolutely chunked out.
Thì sau trận đấu hôm nay thì bản thân mình cũng đã bắt được nhịp ở cái giải đấu này ấy, thì mình rất là tự tin trong 2 game đấu sắp tới tụi mình sẽ giành chiến thắng và tiến tới vòng knockout BO5.
Em nghĩ là đây là cơ hội tốt nhất để cả team tiến xa hơn trong bữa thế giới.
Mega now coming in, massive Pantheon ult. They're just gonna clean up this fight as Mega are wiping the floor with low key. They're making it look so easy.
ก็อยากให้ทุกคนคอยเชียร์คอยให้กำลังใจครับเพราะว่า
ก็ยังไงก็ที่ 1ครับยังไงก็ที่ 1ในกลุ่ม
Feather Storm, so much damage, but Nuclear dive bombs into the backline and gets himself the triple.
Pretty sure that was the Vladimir damage.
담원이 그 플레인에서는 그냥 각 라인마다 그냥 한 명 한 명 다 그냥 최고점, 그냥 최상인 그냥 1등이기 때문에 각 라인마다 그래서 저희들을 응원해주면 좋을 것 같아요.
제가 그래도 경험이 없다 보니까 좀 다른 경험 많은 미드들보다는 좀 더 뒤가 없이 뭐라 해야 되지? 약간 자신감 있게 좀 뭐 무서운 게 없으니까 좀 자신감 있게 할 수 있는 게 장점인 것 같아요.
Alright, this good damage. BRTG locked up, but it's not enough. There's the stopwatch you talked about, Egypt, and now he's caught out. The combo is there. They're killing everyone. It's an absolute slaughter.
The crowd was insane. They are giving me so much energy.
For them, this is the first time we had a chance to do like something big. I want to prove to myself that I can face the best with the Cavs in the world and like make Brazil proud.
Ultimate into the wall, looks for the one shot closer, finds it all too easy.
I think everyone has potential to reach the worst groups.
ShowMaker trying to return the favor as Nuguri does get forward. Big stun there, finds the backline as BeryL goes golden, but there's a Vladimir now here. Kiana gets a second kill. And DAMWON, they just lose a couple of kills and don't get anything for it.
I am confident for myself and my team. I'm pretty sure we can come back from this.
Welcome to the rematch between DAMWON Gaming and RYL Youth. I'm Atlas, I'm joined by Jat. We're AKA Jatless or LCS Spring 2019. Super excited to get into this match as everyone is here because this is Worlds, Jat.
It is Worlds, and I'm getting deja vu. I feel like I've seen this matchup before.
You have. In fact, it happened a couple of days ago.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so 2 days ago, I found a fun fact when I was going into the picks and bans from what happened. This group actually had first pick Renekton in all 3 games on day 2. And obviously, we're going to be seeing side swaps for these teams. Yep. So instead of RYL Youth being blue side and DAMWON being red, it's going to swap around. And we even heard from Royal Youth that they're already kind of looking towards the Flamengo game that they have later, but you never know, because if they pull an upset here, they can make the rest of their day a lot easier.
Yeah, and is it going to be the same thing? Because we saw Splice, they were up 2-0 as well, looking very dominant on their first day, and then second day things didn't necessarily go that well. Could be the same here for DAMWON Gaming, because of course everything can change. However, they do look very dominant, despite not necessarily being as dominant as we may have expected moving into this tournament.
Yeah, I think the expectations were in the clouds for DAMWON Gaming in Game 1 and 2. It's like people expected them to come out and perfect game every opponent in 23 and a half minutes. That's just not how League of Legends usually works, especially on the world stage. And if you're the fan that comes in and looks at the play-in standings after the fact and then tunes into this game, you might think, oh, it's really just been the major regions stomping on the little guys again. That hasn't been the story of these first 3 days whatsoever, so I really do think upsets are possible. This is a unlikely upset, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, we'll see what happens here as we are into Champion Select for game number 1 of the day. Qiyana and the Yuumi both taken away by DAMWON, and the Renekton has been banned. So we're going to buck the trend of this group this time with Pantheon also taking a leave of absence here. We've seen him once. G4, perfect execution on that champion. Absolutely, no worries, 100% win rate. Easy peasy. Is the Syndra also going to be taken off the board by DAMWON Royal Youth with their final ban incoming. And the Gragas taken away from Canyon, I believe, for the whole time of this tournament so far.
Yeah.
Of course, only a couple of games, but still, 100%.
The ban that Royal Youth essentially dropped when they switched to this side is the Alistair. So BeryL's Alistair, BeryL's Alistair will be available basically whenever he wants it. It's not a champion you would have to first pick. I think right now they'd be choosing whether or not they'd want to go with something like Xayah Rakan, or do they just take Xayah because DAMWON is comfortable outscaling, and that's the pick.
And also, Nuclear, he really likes picking Xayah. He's picked it 100% of the time thus far, and look, if it's been working, which it sort of has, not entirely sure whether you'd say working when they have a gold deficit on average as far as the bottom lane is concerned, but that's not what we're focusing on for DAMWON Gaming, is the Xayah Lee Sin comes in here on Royal Youth's side.
Yeah, and this is actually something we've seen other teams do. Looking through my sheet, it was actually Hong Kong Attitude that did Rakan Lee Sin and then later Xayah, so they really just wanted to secure the Lee Sin jungler earlier on. And then, of course, you're going to be able to counter that with the Rek'Sai because you can unburrow as he takes the Q towards you. And no big surprises here. DAMWON just going for the scaling again, and Royal Youth doing what we expect.
Yep, the color coordination on the red side. It is certainly not the first time that we've seen.
But the Vladimir has been taken away, so the combo has been broken.
I know, and it was so blue. We were doing so well on DAMWON's side, but of course, when it's Vladimir, this is something that you will never discount DAMWON for taking. And this could be going to Nuguri yet again, but ShowMaker is, of course, a fantastic Vladimir player as well. It's why this pick is so strong for this team specifically. The Leona to be taken away as far as the answer to Rakan is concerned. I like that a lot. Leona's been popping her head up into the Rakan a whole lot of times.
I do hope that Royal Youth does decide to throw out the Alistair ban for their own good. Yep. But as far as wanting to see some good Alistair, I hope they don't ban it.
Yeah, I mean, I like BeryL's Alistair a lot. It didn't see all that many bans in the LCK. Yeah. It was mostly because we had Tom Kench meta, we had Yuumi's going around everywhere, the Nautilus was such high priority. It just wasn't necessarily the champion in the meta that was so strong, but over at Rift Rivals, he certainly showed that he was one of the best in the world, if not the best, on that champion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how DAMWON approaches these pick ban phases, because I actually feel like they have the luxury of not only going for the most present meta pick in every draft, but instead show a little bit more flair and style, which could then work to their advantage in the bracket stage and in the finals, right? So like that's why I think BeryL should pick Alistair, because if people focus on Alistair, that'll be more likely for him to unlock Nautilus or something like that later.
Do you know what I heard from you just then? All I heard was ShowMaker's Katarina. That's all I heard. He was a Katarina one-trick, Jat.
Oh,
a Katarina one-trick, and we haven't seen it in the LCK thus far. He's he played one game of it in the Kesper Cup, beginning of the year, of course, end of last year, more likely. But I want to see it all the time. I want to see it. And he builds Gunblade and Death's Dance. It's just so much fun.
It's going to be Akali.
I know.
I mean, he's also one of the best Akalis in the world.
He's probably the best Akali in the world.
The amount of... Okay, they just went the Nautilus. That's fine as well. DAMWON has a lethal comp. It's...
Yeah.
it's incredible. The only small criticism would be it's a little heavy on magic damage. So if the Kled does get going and build stuff like Maw, he will actually be a little bit of a drain tank, but that's fairly unlikely to happen, and I kind of love DAMWON's team comp so far.
And it depends what Nuclear is going to do as well. We've seen a lot of these hybrid builds, things like that, a lot of AP, especially out of Nuclear. It does like the AP build is, all right, cyeol going for the Galio in the mid lane. We've seen this pop up, but it hasn't necessarily been the pivotal Galio that we've seen in the past. Of course, not being able to taunt flash is not necessarily as flashy, but all of those numbers are pretty high, Jet.
Yeah, and also, he's good at following up with Rakan engages.
Yeah, and Lee Sin as well. He's got a lot of options.
Yeah, previous World Championships, we've seen Galio comboed with good engage to be very strong. It's just when he can't then give his own engage, the ability to play through him in mid lane is a lot lower, so it's going to be difficult for him to actually do anything against ShowMaker, and ShowMaker will be able to push up fairly well. But overall, I do like how it gives the team composition for RYL Youth a sense of purpose, and it kind of leads to coordination. When Kled or Rakan go in, cyeol knows exactly what to do, is to ult in with them.
Yeah. And bottom side of the map, it is going to be a very, very comfortable matchup here for RYL Youth. We'll see whether they can play through it, try and attack DAMWON. But I think the adaptation that we're seeing right here is that Canyon is now on the Rek'Sai. And Rek'Sai, she's just a lot better at getting things done in the early stages of the game. Everyone loves that that hail of blades, so you can basically one-round people with just a Q and a few autos.
So, Atlas.
Yeah, man.
I watched a lot of DAMWON games to try and prepare for this, and I couldn't help but hear that sometimes people don't like Canyon.
Well, look, it's not that people don't like Canyon. It's just that he may not necessarily be the most pivotal member of the team. But ladies and gentlemen, game one. We're ready. Summoner's Rift is ready. Let's get into it. DAMWON Gaming versus RYL Youth.
RYL Youth obviously trying to make it back after a disappointing 0-2 first day, but as they mentioned, they are looking forward to their game against Flamengo. This one is a challenge for them, and if they could pull it off, they would definitely make a statement for later.
I do like that mindset, though, because they can come into this game feeling like they have nothing to lose. If they're assuming that DAMWON is going to go 4-0 in this group, then in theory, they can just look towards Flamengo, and this one's a bit of a gimme. So have a bit of fun, try and get this composition to work. And if we think about the biggest upset from yesterday, it was a composition like this that was utilized by Detonation Focus Me against Splice. It was the let's press R together and dive on top of people. And it worked very, very well for them.
Yeah, and Tolerant mentioned in the interview about 10 minutes ago that their decision-making towards the later stages of the game is actually not that good. So many of their victories when they were absolutely dominating in their domestic region was just winning between 20 and 25 minutes and then killing the Nexus. They didn't have to play the 30-minute macro. They were 16-2 during the regular season. So they do have that ability to just know their strengths and weaknesses, which I actually feel like a lot of teams do struggle with. There's this idea of trying to work towards this perfect League of Legends when really, like, if I'm cooking, for instance.
All right, cooking.
I'm confident in my ability to make macaroni and cheese, throw some bacon on top.
Ooh, really starting with the high skill
I can
cap.
make like a great peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And in terms of my enjoyment of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich versus me trying to make like this pesto aioli flambe salmon swordfish, like it's just gonna taste awful.
I've never had a salmon swordfish before. Wow.
That's an extreme example, but
yeah, okay, very
do
extreme.
what you know, and it will be better than trying to do something extremely hard.
Yeah, exactly. Don't copy someone else without understanding why, and just be yourself and be the best self you can possibly be. As Nuguri, having a really rough time here, is gonna flash, respecting Armut's flash after him if he was gonna go there. Damn, Nuguri getting schooled early in this lane.
Boot start, and if Kled lands some of those early Qs on you, it's devastating since that also reduces the healing of the Vladimir by 60%, which is more of a grievous wound than 40%
as well. Ooh, Jat, things are getting a bit spicy, and it's not in favor of DAMWON Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually somewhat similar to what we saw in the first game between these two teams. I mean, Nuclear and BeryL were kind of uncharacteristically over-aggressive, and they just got punished. So DAMWON does need to show respect and restraint against this Royal Youth team, and now they're flashless in 2 lanes, which means Closer can actually make some plays.
Yeah, I really like that Closer is immediately going for this as well. Down to 200 health is Canyon, has to get out of there, and Closer steals away the blue buff. So a 3-buff start for Closer. Spawn feeling very good about highlighting this guy now, as it's a brilliant start to the game here for Royal Youth jungler.
I'm so glad Spawn was able to focus on him, because he was actually quite dominant in the early game of the first matchup as well on Qiyana. Got 2 kills and then actually had multiple one-shots throughout the game. Lee Sin also capable of doing so if he's able to rush to Warrior Enchantment. And as long as he stays ahead of the curve on Canyon's Rek'Sai, he should be able to continue to invade.
Well, you can see ShowMaker taking a leaf out of Nuguri's book. He likes the Doran's ring on Vladimir a lot of the time. This time he went for the boot start. It was 4-pot last time he played Vlad, but he decided to go refillable.
Yeah.
It
Super greedy.
Yeah, it wasn't,
So
it wasn't
greedy.
a great move. So sometimes, you know, the chips fall your way, and this time for Nuguri, it certainly did not.
Nuguri did boots, refillable, and 50 gold. That was his open. He decided to just run out of base with gold in his pocket.
Well, Canyon's going to tunnel out of the enemy jungle. Understands that there's a ward there, but so far, no first bloods, and DAMWON have a 500 gold lead. If I'd been watching this game and not looking at the gold, like, I would expect Royal Youth to be winning. They got the invade, they got the 3-buff, they
Saw the
sent
flashes
Nuguri
get
home.
burned.
Like, where is this coming from? And I look
It's
down,
bot lane,
and
yeah.
it's bot lane.
Yeah.
Which is not where it's supposed to be coming from, Jad.
That's not what the internet was telling me as far as this team goes. But this is a flashless Vladimir.
Well, will he have the pull in time is the question. The answer is he uses it very early as Closer does land the Q. Gets himself under the turret, does Nuguri, and he'll be absolutely fine.
The biggest thing to focus on in this matchup is whether or not Armut can land his bear trap on a rope onto Nuguri, because the extra healing reduction that Kled offers is actually what the counter matchup is supposed to be, but it is just difficult to execute, because as soon as he misses it, he's just going to lose the trade to Vlad.
Yep. Nuguri, of course, knows this very, very well, but has fallen prey to Armut's playstyle already this game. Canyon going to take a very early Ocean Drake. Probably the most valuable Ocean Drake you can get is the one you can get closest to 5 minutes.
Yeah, so...
And that's 30 seconds afterwards. Pretty good.
Flashes, burning enemy flashes is good because it's something you can return on later, but it doesn't actually give you gold. It doesn't give you objectives. It just gives you the hope of something later, and Royal hasn't cashed in any of those things. So we mentioned that Nuguri up in the top lane did burn his flash, but because of Kleptomancy and how much Armut has been trading, as you notice another bear trap on a rope miss, the Kleptomancy just keeps coming in. 5 more gold, 5 more gold, another item, another consumable. Also, he loves to just sit on a lot of his consumables if he's feeling comfortable in the lane, either to style on the opponent or to just sell them for gold because he loves banking for later.
Yeah, he also, he's been outspoken about the sacks of gold. He's like, why would you press the button straight away when you can have that sack of gold sitting in your inventory, so every time your opponent presses tab, they see that they're just stealing money out of your pockets.
There's a reason, so you don't automatically consume your full inventory immediately. This game, he's actually using his pots, which doesn't mean he's respecting it, but I love the moxie, I gotta say.
I like the idea. I feel like just put the ward down and keep the sack of gold or something like that.
Yeah.
As Nuguri does have his Seeker's Arm Guard completed, that's not quite up with all of the cooldown reduction that you would get, thanks to Frosker in there for her bit about Nuguri's Vladimir. This was the guy that started the Kindle Gem plus Fiendish Codex build, and is also going to be put on a rope there. He's not a bear, but is still going to be trapped up for a moment. But yeah, he was the guy that sort of began that Kindle Gem 40% CDR at level 9 type Vladimir build that became so popular when he was just so strong.
This could be a big gank if Lee Sin's able to get in there face checking.
Yeah, remember BeryL just doesn't have his flash available as the Grand Entrance comes forward, and it's just not enough with the Aftershock. First blood comes in for Tolerant. I believe that was an Ignite tick as Canyon looking to try and get in here, but I don't think he can do anything. 2 versus 3.
And there were just a few seconds left on BeryL's flash cooldown right there, so the timing narrowly makes it in for Royal Youth.
And I'm really glad that you bring that up, because we were talking about that investment, the fact that if you get flashes, you need to act on those flashes, and Royal Youth have done it again. They did it in the first time these two matched up, and that was why Closer was able to get so far ahead on the Qiyana. So we have a look at this one again.
Just a nice kick backwards, not using too much. Knows he doesn't need to use the flash on Lee Sin. Closer doing a good job hitting level 6 first before Canyon is able to make it down bot lane as well. So got to continue to make these plays happen. Watch the Lee Sin ult cooldown, because as soon as that is back up again, he should make a repeat elsewhere, probably bottom lane. It's probably too hard to gank the Akali or the Vladimir.
I think it's really cool, though, the way they played that one out, because Aftershock is a fantastic rune if you can get some CC down. But what they recognized is, if we layer this CC, if we get that kickback into the grand entrance, then the Nautilus is actually very squishy. And speaking of squishy, cyeol's going to be relatively after that Aftershock wears off, but thankfully gets the safety of his turret. It's BeryL again under fire. Nuclear comes back. He's got a lot of items, and I like this, going for the more AD-focused build.
I think so as well. And I think when we look at a team like RYL Youth, you could tune in and see that they're 0-2, but I think play-in is such a small sample size for these teams. They play the whole year. They prove that they're the best in their region. They beat Supermassive. They're very proud to be representing their region here. And they know that they need to do better, and I think they can do better on this day. This doesn't mean that they can beat DAMWON, but definitely don't count this team out. It'll be a mental hurdle for them for sure if they do lose this game and see themselves sitting at 0-3, but that actually doesn't mean they're eliminated yet, just based on how these groups can play out.
Yeah, and I can imagine a lot of people went back to try and work out who RYL Youth were. They watched their final, and it was very sloppy. Honestly, it felt like Supermassive probably should have won that series in Game 4, but if you look at their regular season, as far as game score, they were 14-2. It was utter dominance regular season. Another kickback here onto BeryL. Aftershock much more valuable this time around as teleports are coming in, and BeryL isn't even dead yet. Closer gonna have the ultimate coming down on top of him. cyeol is going to visit. Not gonna find too many taunts just yet, but ShowMaker obliterates the backline once again. Finds Pilot. Can he find the kill? Not going to.
Canyon's coming in.
Dive forward. The Prey Seeker isn't going to get there as the control ward goes down. He's by himself as he launches his way forward. Dredge line lands under the turret. It's a party in the early game. Very close to 11 minutes. A stopwatch from BeryL, and Nuclear is the one that picks up the kill on the Galio.
I can't blame RYL Youth for going for that play. It was the cooldown of the Lee Sin kick. Closer wanted to make a big play happen, but boy, was DAMWON ready for that. And ShowMaker just shows off his Akali in that fight, dodging skill shots while getting in to do his damage. When we get to see that, focus on him because it was just so impressive.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. They'll augment that with a Mountain Drake there as well, so both of the Drakes are his, as ShowMaker does have the Shroud available, of course. Grand Entrance is going to be utilized here as the turret even got one. Too easy for RYL Youth. I think ShowMaker didn't believe that the turret range was going to get him shot just there, as we have a look at the bottom lane. So let's have a look at him being good for a moment.
Forget about what you just saw. A minute ago, he was awesome. So the play starts, and BeryL does get the Aftershock out when the damage was trying to land. And watch this, just narrowly getting outside the Galio ultimate, dashing back in, and then watch this flash. After he takes his E in to get Pilot extremely low, and then because Pilot is so low and there's still 4 people, he's got to completely bail, and it allows DAMWON to just kind of pick their spots right there. Tolerant does sacrifice himself. He was mainly preventing Xayah from going down as well, because otherwise Canyon may have tried to do a flash Q into ultimate, and DAMWON just cleans up during the turret dive.
Yep, really nice work there from BeryL as well. Utilizes his stopwatch to keep himself alive, as Closer is going to be able to take down Shelly 12 minutes into the game, 2 minutes to utilize her to get some plates here in either the mid lane, or he can move down to top or bot. Should be absolutely fine.
Yeah, gold lead kind of blown wide open there, as well as the 2 Drakes, but we do have to point out that Nuguri's teleport was canceled by Armut's Kled, and then also Nuguri burned Flash. So I think what happened is Kled would have interrupted the teleport with the bear trap, and since he had landed the bear trap, that's exactly what he wanted, and ended up burning Nuguri's Flash. So we may be able to see a play happening top lane, although Nuguri's burned his Flash before, and Closer wasn't able to make it back up there.
And it wasn't flash for flash between the 2 top laners as well. And in case you were unaware, the reason why Bear Trap on a rope is so incredibly good against Vladimir is even if you pull, you still get tethered, and therefore everything still registers. So Sanguine Pull, normally the most annoying ability in the universe. For Kled, not so much if you're able to land the Bear Trap on a rope before he presses that button.
Yeah, and he's actually burned his stopwatch early, so that's more likely to be an early upgrade into Zonia's Hourglass. It's always demoralizing, I think, playing against Nuguri's Vladimir.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Armut has done everything in his power to try and shut him down. He got the flash right away as Nuguri was super greedy. Yet we look at the state of the lane. He's up 3 CS. He's taken 2 turret plates.
And he has
his Kleptomancy has given him gold. And he has a 700 gold lead. It's like he's killed Armut twice. That's how much his gold advantage is. Just because he's just laning with this Greed Boy build and pulling it off quite well.
And it's so frustrating as well on a mental level to be up against someone that's taken Kleptomancy in a very aggressive, shall we say.
In a kill lane. It's a counter matchup.
Exactly. So he's taken the Klepto, and so you're there as Kled, and you're thinking, I have to kill this guy, otherwise he's just going to get way more money than me.
But you know what happens when you don't kill him? He gets even more money because you're in range for him to smack you with Klepto autos.
It's like you can't win. As Nuguri, Bear Trap on a Rope does come down here, down to half health. And of course, that healing reduction, gigantic.
Yeah, and it lasts. But this would break the lane open if Canyon would be able to pull off something, but...
It is also difficult to lock down a Kled as well, given the fact that you can jump off Skull. The untargetability of the Kled certainly something we also need to mention, so that's why Canyon isn't going to go for anything too aggressive. Tiamat done here for the Kled as well, with some Mercury Treads there as well for a little bit of extra magic resistance. Having a look down the lanes, ShowMaker is just 30 CS ahead.
Yeah, so where do we go from here? Because DAMWON has actually kind of dominated the early game, even though they had a few flashes burned early, and with turret plates being down, the game does kind of break open to the mid game. Probably seeing fights around this bottom turret, and RYL Youth actually looking to force.
Yep, we got a root coming in from BeryL here. Does have the Aftershock now available as Canyon trying to get into this fight. Featherstorm comes down, but Nuclear dodges out of the way of the Blade Caller. There's the heroic entrance, but it was cancelled, I believe, off the back end. ShowMaker can't get down there, and closer sneaks into the back line.
It's a lot of damage.
Executes BeryL. ShowMaker is in the Shroud, but he's down so low as Pilot dives on top of him, but can't actually close the distance. A double kill for closer there as Nuclear desperately trying to get over all these walls, finds one of the kills, but it is still an advantage for RYL Youth.
RYL Youth doing well to force there. It was actually a little bit sloppy in the fact that Galio had his ultimate interrupted during the middle of the fight, but they just had the numbers advantage for so long, and now they're going to look to utilize this Rift Herald and have a chance to actually take this turret and a large chunk out of the mid one.
Yep, we've got on the way pings for DAMWON on the top side of the map as Nuguri's going to try and race Shelly. That ain't going to happen as first turret blood does go over to RYL Youth. But with the fact that there's a Vladimir on the top side, that gold gap is not going to change.
Oh, Nuguri, able to just sit on his island the whole merry way and just farm up. The rest of DAMWON also trying to hold the fort 4v4 as much as possible and actually counter-pushing this RYL Youth team. I think they may have ended up losing their bottom lane turret after using the Rift Herald bot lane anyway. But we're going to watch this again. Nice wait by closer, and we have a teleport. So here's another fight. I love the fact that they're forcing.
Yeah, very deep one there from cyeol as well, trying to get in behind Canyon and Nuclear, but now he's trying to get out of the way as DAMWON. They regrouped, yep, taunt onto a couple of members, but still the Galio in trouble. Has to flash after the Aftershock, but caught with the dredge line. BeryL even going to survive as DAMWON delivered the mid laner. That was RYL Youth's play, and it did not work.
They weren't quite in range to take advantage of the Galio flank, and DAMWON just straight up turns onto the Galio, so completely shut down as the second Ocean Drake is spawning.
Or the Mountain Drake even.
They're going to go all in. You're right, Mountain Drake.
We'll see whether they can get there. Of course, they won't have any ability to get the Galio in there as the Dragon goes down, but can they win the fight? Hemoplague onto a few members. There's a Tolerant going to go down relatively low, but otherwise is okay. The charge used defensively, and I feel like this is such a barometer for any Kled comp, is which direction is the charge going? And if it's going forward, you know things are going well. If it's going backwards, that's when we really need to make some changes.
I really wonder, I'll have to check the cooldown on Armut's Kled because you need to use that with your Galio teleport if you're going to go forward and make the play, not in the 4v5 Drake contest that never should have happened because it was 4v5.
And also using it backwards is generally not what you want to do either, as Closer is going to whiff the Q there, expecting Canyon to juke up, but he's of course not going to do that. And 2 Mountain Drakes, what does that mean, Jet? To me, that means we're going for a relatively early Baron.
Yeah, and I think it also means that RYL Youth needs to be even faster in their decision-making because knowing that Nuguri is just going to be farming up side lanes until his flash comes back up and he can fight again, means that if Royal Youth send too many people over there, the Baron is just completely gone. Once Nuclear, now that he has his Rage Blade, actually with the on-hit from Kai'Su with Double Mountain, it's one of the most lethal 80 carries you can have to kill the Baron buff. So it's a really tall task for Royal Youth in this game.
Well, at the moment, they're getting that shove towards this mid lane. It is relatively low, as our ShowMaker has vacated quite a few times, and 4 members now just going to collapse. 3 are here to try and defend as the 1-3-1 is on for DAMWON, but you can see Royal not wanting to overstep, feeling the pressure here that the Korean team has brought so far to this mid game. 1 minute approximately until Baron rears his head in this pit that we're going to focus on right now, and the red buff going to be delivered over to Pilot. And Pilot had recently vacated the LCK.
Yeah.
A sub for Maha on MVP, and in fact was a lot more impressive in a lot of the games that he was playing. Of course, before that was a sub for Captain Jack on Jin Green Wings in like 2014, 2013, something like that, if you want to go all the way back.
Wasn't Pilot also on PSG for a short time when Yellow Star started that?
He did a few tours around before he settled here in Turkey, but I have actually been quite impressed by a lot of his play, and especially during the regular season, he was the banking 80 carry, playing a heck of a lot of Sivir.
Yeah, I think Royal Youth plays a lot around Armut normally, which is why it's actually a little bit surprising they haven't done that to try and shut down Nuguri's pretty greedy Vladimir build, and then Pilot would just carry because he's good, right? In this game, though,
cyeol and Pilot, and they just make sure that Armut is okay, and then in theory, with just being better, they're going to be okay. As you certainly do, as Canyon looks for Tolerant, but Tolerant grand entrance.
Oh, here comes Kled.
Get out as the
Let's
dive
go.
is coming in. Very early pull as there's the heroic entrance. Not going to get any knockups as the dive forward, but diving off Skull is Armut, and maybe DAMWON have found the fight, but great taunt to get into the backline, and already Nuguri is being taken. This could be the go sign for Royal Youth as BeryL just tries to distract. He's going to lose his life, but buys space for the rest of DAMWON to slink away.
And how can they take advantage of having these 2 members dead on DAMWON? Because they actually catch DAMWON during an aggressive play, but they actually pull Armut off to the bottom lane. This could have been an opportunity to try and force something on Baron, but without the lack of Mountain Drakes, they decide not to go for it.
Yeah, a little bit early there as Baron had only been alive for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That was a fair bit of damage, and there was still, a killer instinct there, but let's have a look at how it all went wrong for DAMWON Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, Nuguri has to pull fairly early on into the fight, and then he just doesn't seem like he's able to get in there to do his Vladimir bomb that he always wants to do, and the charm right on the way out by Tolerant is so critical, and they basically kill him during the CC lock. Also, shout out to cyeol's Galio right there, getting the right type of Aftershock proc. As he's going in and you'd want to return damage, he's taunting, which gives him damage reduction, procs the Aftershock right afterwards, and makes the return of fire too difficult.
Yep, it was really, really nice. cyeol actually, he got the taunt just after that charm wore off. It was wonderful layering of CC, as you mentioned. So rewatching that, really beautiful play here from these guys. And Royal Youth are here to play. It's only 3,000 gold the difference, and that gold gap has been about that for the last 10 minutes. And as the game goes on, if it stays there, then things are going to be absolutely fine for Royal Youth because they have an easy comp to execute.
Absolutely, and Rakan's in the flank right here, but they don't have the Kled ultimate yet, and he's in a side lane, so I think DAMWON's just going to be able to push up mid lane. This third Mountain Dragon will be up pretty soon, but it looks like DAMWON is just going to threaten Baron because there's a chance they just try and burst it down.
Well, there's no vision.
That's what Royal's thinking, so.
Yeah, Royal Youth don't have any vision. They can walk towards the pit and know that they are going to be okay, but they get that ward over, it's going to be immediately cancelled, and Baron isn't being taken from DAMWON, but Royal Youth do need to try and get some control of the area.
Yeah, and I feel like this is the time where Royal Youth needs to find fights, because once Nuguri finishes his death cap, I think the window is closed unless they can actually one-shot the Vladimir before these fights. So right now, he hasn't quite completed it since he's deviated for that Nomad's Medallion 10% CDR that he likes to try and fit in.
He's going to have a lot of CDR actually in this build. I believe is maxed out if he's taken it in his runes as well. So 45 CDR is going to be very close here for Nuguri.
Yeah, this is what Frost was talking about before the day. He'll get to 45% CDR at level 18, but here we go. This is the window they're trying to capitalize on.
Yep, the charge is going to come in as BeryL's going to just knock him out there. I love the use of the Aftershock so defensively to just make sure that DAMWON are safe, and they just whiff that ultimate for Royal Youth.
That was such a good counter engage by
Really
BeryL.
cute.
Using the Nautilus ultimate, not on the Kled, but on people behind the Kled, just stopped any possible follow-up. It is desperation actually right now for Royal Youth though, because they know Triple Mountain and a soon-to-be Deathcap Vladimir would be devastating. The fact that DAMWON is in a recall pattern means Royal Youth can actually get this. Could be close though.
We've got flanking teleports on both sides, but Baron down to half health there. They are going to peel away. But this could be the pincer move. Often pincers don't necessarily work here in League of Legends, and DAMWON aren't going to go for it, but the Baron was stopped very successfully, but at the cost of 2 teleports.
Yeah, getting the teleports off is very beneficial because it means DAMWON has to group up, but the death cap has been completed. So now with Triple Mountain, DAMWON is just going to force Royal Youth into the spot and then take the fight.
Well, Blast Cone just going to be stolen away there by Canyon. They get into this pit. Double Mountain Drake, triple Mountain Drake, sorry, is tearing this Baron buff up. DAMWON don't want to go for a 50-50 though, as there's the knock-up. They go for the engage, but the grand entrance is going to be there. The heroic one, I Tell a Lie, is now Pilot. Finds himself the Featherstorm. No Blade Caller action's going to happen as ShowMaker diving around the fight. A double kill so far. One of them goes over to the Vladimir, but now they're looking for Pilot. Armut's over the wall, but he's not going to be there for too long as the Stalkers are in. Look at ShowMaker trying to find it, but doesn't get under that turret to lock down the kill. But now Baron should be much easier for this squad.
Yeah, and I gotta credit DAMWON for this one because even though they don't blow people out in the early game, they still end games quickly. I think that's a key distinction that some people don't realize when they're watching this team. They don't have a dominant early game, but they're still the second fastest team in the LCK because once they have their win conditions, they go and win. So the death cap was a win condition for them on Vladimir. They immediately go for that fight. And look how just, even though Royal tried to get the engage onto Nuguri, he's full health, alt, E, pool, E, Q, just cycling through his Vladimir spells and easily helping the team clean up.
And ShowMaker was just bouncing around the backline, executing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a dynamic duo, what can I say? And apparently it was actually nuclear, so just scratch what I said. It was the fact that he had the Hurricane.
Yeah, so
as everyone was grouped up around the Vladimir.
From my defense, you know, from that previous game as well, it was all nuclear getting that triple kill.
Maybe it was just delayed damage.
Yeah.
And it's not showing up in the stats.
Frostgrin just likes to be mean sometimes, as the flash is going to come out here from cyeol. He was still at full health, but he knew what the landing of that E was going to mean, and the rest of DAMWON, the Goon Squad, and they're going to turn up towards this inner turret on the top side of the map. 9-6 is the kill score, but the Baron is still there for another 2 minutes. We're looking to try and break open the base and extend this gold lead beyond the 8,000 that it's currently very close to sitting at.
With triple Mountain Drake, you can sneeze on a turret and it will explode.
Well, I mean, this siege minion is basically soloing it pretty quickly, to be honest. As we've got Armut, he's backing. The Kled's on the bottom side and decides to cancel it. He's waiting down there, trying to get what he can on the opposite side of the map. Whether or not Royal Youth can defend is the question, and they are at least able to dissuade DAMWON from pushing towards this inhibitor turret. They'll take all of the standing gold they can find in a turret in the mid lane. Looks to be the next option. As Nuguri sees a bunch of red dots knocking on his door, and he's going to push this wave all the way back.
Yeah, and so game 5 of today is going to be Flamengo versus Royal Youth, which if DAMWON beats Flamengo in game 3, will be essentially a decider for the second seed in this group. So Flamengo still has the opportunity to pull an upset against DAMWON, and that would actually eliminate Royal Youth, assuming DAMWON's able to close this game out. So a lot of things still contingent on the rest of the day.
DAMWON, of course, if they win here, they will secure knockout stage, but they won't secure first. Because Flamengo can then beat DAMWON and beat Royal Youth and then be even with them at 3-1. So we'll see whether DAMWON can secure that first seed after game 3 or whether it is going to be waiting until that game 5 that you were talking about. An exciting group though, as DAMWON at the moment looking like this game is in the bag, but still a whole lot could change even after this.
I mean, we've been able to see some signature ShowMaker Akali, some repeat of Nuguri's Vladimir greed build.
He now has the Void Staff as well. You go Void Staff 3rd item if you just don't need any utility whatsoever. and Nuguri just does it basically every game.
Yeah, I think this Nomads works like only on Vladimir. I'm trying to think of other champions that you could pull this off on because it's not gold efficient when you buy it. It really is just the CDR. Like it's one of the cheapest ways you can get 10% CDR, and then eventually it will pay for itself. He almost never gets the gold coins because if you last hit a minion, it doesn't drop a coin, mana or gold. And if you're alone in a lane, no gold coins can drop, even if you're missing CS. So he's very rarely picking up coins towards a support quest. He's just using some of the passive gold per 10, but assuming he waits, it does become the cheapest form of 10% CDR.
Yeah, he just didn't want to build a proto belt because proto belt isn't a death cap.
Yeah, I mean, building the Nomads delayed his death cap, technically.
Well, yeah, in theory. But I just wanted to get to that CDR, which is very close. It'd be like, what, 43.5% CDR? Which is a lot. It's more than you should have, as the charge is going to be in. It's used defensively once again from Armut. Gets towards a back timing, but the base is still standing here from RYL Youth. They haven't lost any inhibitor turrets just yet. They've just lost a heck of a lot of gold around this map. 10,000 gold is close to the lead. 5 Drakes have already been taken. We've got a 6th. This is what happens when you get a 5.5-minute dragon.
This is true. And all 6 could go to DAMWON.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've seen that?
I haven't seen 6 Drakes for a really long time. Yeah.
I've seen 6 Drakes in games, but they almost never all go over to the same team because usually the game's over by then.
Yeah. Well, here's an engagement. We're looking for BeryL. Aftershock is going to be there, down to about half health as he does get the flash dredge line in order to get out. Featherstorm's there from Pilot, who flashes over the wall to secure the kill, but now Nuclear diving into the back line. Boom goes the dynamite, and 2 kills are already there. Meanwhile, ShowMaker and Canyon were just executing the Galio as the teleports are in. We're looking for the end of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're still not going to see the 6th Drake.
Oh, I know, it's frustrating.
Oh,
4
man.
minutes in. Oh, can we delay? Can we delay, guys?
Yeah, I'm glad RYL Youth went for a fight there because they were inevitably going to get bled out as Vladimir builds more and more items. But it looks like, this is going to be the end of the game. 20-second death timers on both solo lane carries and the triple mountain as DAMWON try and push through for the end.
Yep, no charge on Armut as well as the Nexus turrets are now the targets. In goes Tolerant, gets the grand entrance and lands it there onto Nuclear as well, but he's only going to lose half of his health bar, and ShowMaker is destroying the back line, which consists of only a Kled. Closer turns up, but that's 1 E, and he's down to 2/3 health. The Nexus is the focus. ShowMaker goes golden, as at least one of the kills does come in for RYL Youth, but now it's 3-0 for DAMWON, who secure knockout stage.
GG for DAMWON. They said after day 1 they were playing at 10%.
Is this 20, Jack?
Yeah.
Where do you think we're at?
So, I think they were not playing at 10%. I think that was an exaggeration. Yeah. I'll say they were 45, and this was a solid 70.
Okay.
Yeah, because they still had some of that sloppiness in the early game, but as terms of hitting their power spikes, getting to their items, and then making something happen, I think DAMWON did very well.
Yeah, and I think this was also the ShowMaker that he wanted to show on his first day out here as well. This was the flashy player. This was diving the backline, executing exactly how he wants to on this Akali. This is what we wanted to see on the world stage. His performance versus King's Own Dragon X, that one play on the Akali, just probably some of the best League of Legends that we saw in the LCK Summer Split. A joy to watch, and so good to see at least a bit of it represented here on the world stage already in play-ins.
Yeah, and I think just as far as getting a few reps in the play-in stage, it can be very valuable for DAMWON Gaming. I mean, there's a reason that the people in Group B and Group D are just waiting with bated breath. Is DAMWON going to be in our group? And if they aren't, they'll be, yay!
Yeah,
and if they are,
exactly
they'll be like,
right.
oh no, what are we going to do about Monopoly Vladimir? Like, it's just, what can you do against that guy? No one else ends up pulling off Vladimir the way this happens. And obviously, we haven't seen it against a top LPL team. We've seen it against top LCK teams. He actually does the same thing half the time.
And we've seen it against the LPL, I believe, at Rift Rivals this year as well, and it still went pretty poorly for the LPL. But for more on that game, let's check in with the analyst desk.
Monopoly Vladimir buying all the property on Boardwalk and making RYL Youth pay for it. Let's talk a little bit about the Monopoly, Vladimir, but more importantly as well, the rest of the draft and what RYL's sort of answer was into DAMWON today. When we look at the draft, there were some strong feelings. I know Jat was quite sort of hopeful for the Kled if it could work, but there was a timing window.
Yeah, and I do want to focus in on that Kled and kind of talk about what the win conditions are, or where the window was. So the Kled is cool because you have the grievous wounds, so you can try to combat some of that healing, and then you also in its impact with Bear Trap on a rope to try to force the pool out of Vladimir. So you can see how Kled should be able to play around a pick that they obviously left open. You know that Nuguri can play. You know that he's probably going to go for it. It was just now, could they make it work?
Yeah, and I even think holistically for the draft overall, this is both teams kind of getting what they want. It was pretty quick. DAMWON are just locking in the Vladimir that's open. And then on the other side of the coin, I like that RYL Youth went back to early aggression. You mentioned the Kled. They have the Xayah Rakan again. They have an early game jungler in the hands of Closer and Lee Sin. He, I think, had a pretty good performance. And,
amazing performance.
And overall, I think this was a solid game on both fronts, even though it was very one-sided.
Now, why did it not work? We have a couple of replays of Nuguri playing this Vlad in the top lane, but talk me through the step-by-step process.
Yeah, and I do want to harken up on this, as the casters were kind of alluding to, because this is the early game matchup. This super early trade in the hands of Armut actually goes very well. He's going to get the flash out of Nuguri in just a few moments, and we were talking about at the draft, with this advantage, this can actually be a big pressure point. When you mentioned the grievous wounds, it's 60%, and every other champion only hits 40.
And then once you have that flash, he really wants to try to bounce the wave. Armut wants to bounce the wave and try to freeze it away from Nuguri, but he makes his back, he has the TP, and he brings a Doran's with him.
Yeah, and this is then the other big swing back, right? Like you mentioned the Doran's, it's double Doran's for Armut, and Nuguri's building towards his Seekers, and the fact that this Bear Trap on a rope misses, Closer comes through, extends a little bit more, and cops a bad trade on the back end. Like, this was their window to punish Nuguri, and now you're in this situation where Seekers is completed for the Vladimir, Armut has double Doran's, is looking for a reset, is already losing trades, and it feels almost like the attack on the top side of the map is just over. There's no more windows left.
If you were able to punish that flash, maybe you don't end up in a scenario like that, but as soon as that fail gank happened, it felt like Vladimir was guaranteed to get to level 9, that he was going to coast to lane. Jat set it on cast. You know, they checked in the lane phase, 700 gold lead for Nuguri from the...
Two and a half kills.
Yep, just free.
Chilling. Klepto, right click in your head. It's
just Monopoly. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200.
No, he is collecting 200. Like, he's collecting lots of them. 3.5.
Do not advance to knockouts, because that's the risk now for RYL Youth after losing the game.
Now, I will say the adaptation that they made after that gank went awry up into the top side was, okay, everything is going down to the bot side now. We are going to repeatedly gank it. Lee Sin was running down there. He had great setup, because I agree with Ejim. Like, they didn't have to change anything. Having the Xayah and Rakan, the priority pick on Xayah for Nuclear down there, like, it was set up perfect. It just, they couldn't break it as hard as they needed to.
Now, what was the emotional reaction to the mid lane team fight that RYL won? They set up a play, they cleared the Galio engage. I was jumping out my seat, but you know, what did you think when watching this?
Holy crap, in all honesty. The fact that they're winning a fight at this point is pretty big. Tolerant, huge 4-man taunt on the Rakan ulti, 3-man knockup at the back end was key in actually getting this, and then Kled compositions, just because of the remount mechanic, he's just chilling, chasing forwards, brings everybody else with them, and this is a moment that you're looking at the game state, you're surprised that it happens, and maybe RYL Youth can make something of it.
And you brought up a great point, Ejim, when we were watching that. You talked about, you know, the difference between the Kled pick and the Renekton pick is that you have another form of engage. You know, the Renekton really has to rely on the flanks. Kled can just zip on in there. So again, it was kind of about pick your moments, pick your windows, and with a champion like Kled, he was bringing more tools where they tried to act on those windows. Yeah. And even though cyeol and Tolerant had a great CC chain, the Rakan into the Galio, it just wasn't enough because Canyon was able to slip away. Yeah. If they'd gotten the jungler there as well, maybe that transitions into a Baron, and maybe you're on the other side of a RYL Youth win. But it was multiple times, they took their shot for the windows, and they just didn't find the target.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing in terms of this game did go the expected way. You know how DAMWON are going to play, but drafting another reliable engage tool, like, it's not fancy League of Legends, and the fact that you know something is going to happen, like guaranteeing at least your opportunity, I think is super important. And that's why, like, we're sitting here in a very one-sided affair, complimenting RYL, being like, okay, this is actually looking good, even though they lost handedly.
Especially when you compare it to some of the games that we have seen over the last 3 days, where there have been individual mistakes, decision-making errors, problems. Despite the fact that RYL lost, they were outclassed. You can see in terms of the stats, in terms of the gold graph, etc. But the decisions that RYL made were the right ones. They just failed to execute like that top lane dive. In a gold deficit, they win a team fight in the mid lane. But again, you're coming up against individuals who are simply better players, and then when they have a lead, they play the map exceptionally well, which is why DAMWON won in 30 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's not even individuals in terms of skill gap there. It's compositionally. Like, the composition from Royal Youth is like, we get an advantage, and then it's either going to work in the first 15 minutes, or they're just going to split push it to death, and we can't do anything. It has to go that way.
I keep cutting you off, sorry, Agent. But I think I like about that, which we've discussed a lot.
He does it a lot.
When you are playing against a team that is better than you, you have to get ahead early. Don't run the risk of going late, and that's what this draft was.
Yeah, because Nuguri is inevitable. He just clicks the fingers, and then all of a sudden the game's over.
I love it. Listen, the Oppo player of the game was ShowMaker on his Akali. He popped off with a little bit of debate, but what a great performance.
Okay, now first thing first, I want to point at Galio, because the Galio changes were big here. He can't flash, he's got the taunt. If he could flash there, maybe that's a different outcome. But in credit to ShowMaker, he really was just flexing on kids with the Akali, showcasing the mechanics there. Also, do want to give a good shout out to Aftershock on BeryL. It was really close. We were looking for Pog. I'm like, I feel like that Aftershock rune has really saved a lot of fights here because they keep going in on BeryL and they can never quite kill him.
Yeah, and I think the big thing to highlight ShowMaker just on the back end, right? Like the side lane plays, it was a huge pressure point in team fights. He was picking on Pilot. That as the game progresses, we're saying Royal Youth don't have that many options. The fact that he's forcing out Featherstorm and meaning that the damage charts are so one-sided because Xayah just can't right-click, that's why he gets it.
Absolutely the case. With the win, DAMWON are now locked for the knockout stage. Royal Youth now need DAMWON to beat Flamengo in Game 3, and then Royal Youth want to beat Flamengo in Game 5. That will force a tie-breaker game for the second seed. It does go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. If Flamengo beat DAMWON, then Royal Youth will be eliminated. That will be Game 3. We'll be doing a pregame for that. It's quite exciting, but seeing the form that DAMWON came in, you have to be afraid if you're Flamengo. This is not the same Game 1 that we saw a couple days ago.
I actually don't think that DAMWON have really changed the game plan yet. It kind of feels like the sentiment that Bryce is talking about, where you know that you're the better players, so you can just wait. You can just scale up. Like you see Nuguri on the Vladimir, where he could be cutting towards mid lane to force a faster mid lane tower drop, but instead he's like, nah, I'll just farm it out more. Like, I know we've got this. As soon as I'm level 11, we'll just kill them all.
But now, what do you think about how clean the performance was? You know what I mean? Like, I think Jat said day one, he felt DAMWON was at a 40, 45. Today, they've come in at a 70. Even though maybe the game plan didn't change itself, holy moly, the execution really did. You know, the 30-minute stomping.
Yeah, I think it's certainly better. Not the best. Bottom lane is still getting attacked. They're still getting abused. And you were like shouting out, haha, MVP Aftershock. Like, those are very
saved him like 3 times.
Those are very close moments, right? Because BeryL is like face checking a bush. He's getting picked off and Aftershock is saving him. And then the side lanes are collapsing. And so there are definitely moments. There are weaknesses in DAMWON, but they're just not being exploited. So it is better, but it's not the best.
Okay, we'll have to see if Flamengo can find some weaknesses to exploit. That'll be Game 3. Before that, Group C is up next as Hong Kong Attitude and Mega Esports look to take a big step towards the knockout stage. Don't go anywhere. Sorry, I cut you off.
If Lee Sin's able to get in there, face checking.
Yeah, remember BeryL just doesn't have his flash available as the grand entrance comes forward, and it's just not enough. Closer, gonna have the ultimate coming down on top of it, and cyeol is going to visit. Not gonna find too many taunts just yet, but ShowMaker obliterates the backline once again. Finds Pilot diving off. Skull is Armut, and maybe DAMWON have found the fight, but great taunt to get into the backline, and already Nuguri has been taken. This could be the go sign for Royal Youth as BeryL just tries to distract. They go for the engage, but the grand entrance is going to be there. The heroic one, I tell a lie, is now Pilot. Finds himself the Featherstorm. No blade caller action's going to happen as ShowMaker diving around the fight. A double kill so far. ShowMaker is destroying the backline, which consists of only a Kled. Closer turns up, but that's 1E, and he's down to 2/3 health. The Nexus is the focus. ShowMaker goes golden.
Hercules, I have been expecting you.
And I brought you a gift, so you can fight properly. Red Bull.
Ooh, how nice of you, but also rather foolish. Mine, no, mine, mine, no, mine.
Mine. Red Bull gives you wings.